Right at the end of the year, RealMe and Xiaomi released their latest mid-range / flagship killers. The RealMe GT5 Pro and the Xiaomi K70 Pro pack some of the most impressive specs for some of the least expensive prices. I'm going to pit them head to head today and talk about why I believe more people should be considering these devices before leaning on Apple, Google and Samsung. What's up, Average Dad fans? Yes, it's true. The RealMe and the Xiaomi should be more of a consideration when you're purchasing your next smartphone. Today is a head-to-head battle on the cameras, the displays, the chipset, the battery, everything. So, without further ado, let's go. Now, the first thing I want to discuss is just the overall design. This is by far the most subjective part of any phone. What some people prefer in one, other people might prefer in another. So the RealMe has a vegan leather back, other glossy back colours are available. I went for the kind of burnt orange. The main thing to look at here is the camera. Do you like the big round camera slapped on the back? Or on the K70 Pro here, which in this black model almost looks a bit marble, slate-ish if you like, it houses a more square rectangle camera setting for the triple camera array. Again, totally subjective. The K70 Pro is squared off on the edges and the RealMe is rounded. So as I said, it's subjective. Do you like a rounded edge or a squared off edge? Do you like the round camera display or a more square one? I can't say, so I'm not going to score this round. I like the design of both though. Now, two areas that are different on the phones are the displays. Both displays are fantastic, but they have their differences. The RealMe is an AMOLED 144Hz screen. Yes, not 120, 144. This will pop out about 1 billion colours and gets to 4,500 nits of peak brightness. The Redmi K70 Pro is a 6.67 inch screen, 120 Hz. However, it's an OLED panel that goes to 6 billion colours, slightly darker, 4,000 nits of peak brightness. The RealMe is LTPO that will get you from 10 Hz all the way up to 144. The Redmi, no LTPO, so you can go from 60 or 120 Hz. For me personally, both screens look outstanding. Here you can see the Avatar Way of Water trailer, both in stunning colour, sharpness. So, if screen is your deal breaker, rest assured, both of these phones have you covered. Now, before we talk about cameras, we need to talk about battery. Another big difference between the Redmi and the RealMe, try and say that 10 times fast, is the battery capabilities, capacities and charging speeds. Start off with the K70 Pro. It's 120 watts wired charging with the charger included in the box. Unfortunately, no wireless charging. Now, when you can charge a phone from dead to 100 in about 20 minutes, having wireless charging maybe isn't a deal breaker. But when it comes to the RealMe, this will charge at 100 watts wired and 50 watts wireless. So if you had to choose between the two, losing 20 watts wired to gain 50 watts wireless charging is probably the one I would go for. Now, as far as capacity, the Redmi is 5,000 milliamp hours and the RealMe is 5,400 milliamp hours. So you're getting wireless charging and a bigger battery with the RealMe, but don't get me twisted, the K70 Pro has the same size battery as a Samsung Galaxy S23 Ultra, but it delivers charging wired 3 times quicker. Well, almost. It's like 2.5, but we'll say 3 for dramatic effect. And remember, the charger for both of these devices is included in the box. Now we're going to talk about the cameras in a second. I just want to tell you the internals of each phone. This is a complete tiebreaker. The RealMe has RealMe's 5.0 UI skin on top, and the K70 Pro has HyperOS. The important things are that Android 14 is on both devices out the box. And processor wise, you get the latest and greatest Snapdragon 8 Gen 3 chip with the Adreno 750 GPU. So both of these phones are absolute powerhouses. You can use them for productivity, you can use them for gaming, you can use them for multimedia. Anything you want to do on your device in 2024, these two phones can do it. Now, I've got a couple of minutes of camera footage and samples. Both devices have a triple camera setup, which is fairly unusual for the £400 to £600 price bracket. So camera wise, as mentioned, both are triple setups. Both have a 50 megapixel main and a 50 megapixel optical zoom lens. The Redmi is 2 times and the RealMe is 2.7 times. Where the ultra wides are slightly different is the RealMe is an 8 megapixel and the K70 Pros is a 12 megapixel. So photos, as you're about to see, both look very sharp and similar. Colours are great. I mean, really, we're talking high-end photography from a mid-range price point. And on the videography side of things, each phone can go 8K on the rear lens. That's 8K at 24 frames per second, mostly due to the capabilities of the Snapdragon 8 Gen 3 chip. The cameras I use though, 4K 60 frames per second. That's the settings I put on all phones that have it anyway, and all three rear lenses can do 4K at 60 on both phones. Where things differ, the RealMe packs 4K 30 frames per second on the selfie camera, and the Redmi is capped at 1080p. So again, the RealMe takes a slight edge when it comes to the camera setup with that slightly better optical zoom and 4K selfie recording. Here's some footage to show you what I mean.
My headspace been weaker, it's been waiting for the right day. Like the right day ever comes, now it's Friday and nothing's changed. Mistakes that everyone is making, but I can't change. I'm stuck in reverse like an old Benz. Forgot to tap it up. Now I long for another day where things fall into place. So if you're down, I'll be down. Pack your bags, fill them up. We can go tonight, take a flight to a higher ground. How does that sound? How does that sound? So strange, why it always feel like it's too late. Waiting another year and it's too late. But that's not true. It's not strange to quit another job cause it was draining. To try a different road though it's been fading in your mind cause of time. Now I long for another day where things.
And sadly, the K70 Pro lets itself down on the selfie camera, being capped at 1080p, whereas the RealMe GT5 Pro is 4K 30 frames per second. So let me know in the comments what you prefer, the K70 or the RealMe when it comes to photos and videos. And now time for my mini rant. It is a rant, but it's not aimed at you per se. The Redmi and the RealMe are both priced between £450 and £600, depending on the storage and RAM variants you decide to go for. For that money, The competitors globally would be the Pixel 7a and the Pixel 8. The Pixel 7a I'm just going to put to the side because these phones absolutely crush it. I mean, I would say these are 2 or 3 times better than the Pixel 7a in my opinion. But if we compare it to the Pixel 8, which is more expensive than both of these phones, these have triple cameras, the Pixel 8 has dual. These have 5,000 mAh batteries plus the Pixel 8 has less. These charge at 100 watts minimum, the Pixel 8, well, I'm not even going to go down that road. These have the Snapdragon 8 Gen 3, the Pixel 8 has the Tensor G3 are we on now? Cool. The point I want to get across is, I have nothing against Pixel phones. Hell, I have a Pixel 8 Pro behind me on the shelf. What I have an issue is with Google pricing their phones and raising the prices. I think the Pixel 8 came out this year and it was like £750. That's 50% higher than the cost of these devices. That's insane to me. If you do a bit of hunting around, you can get yourself an amazing deal. Both phones are available on WONDA Mobile. Link in description. I get $10 per sale through my link. I would be suggesting these phones and recommending both these devices way before recommending a Pixel 8 device. So, to end my little rant, and it's not a rant, just be careful what you're buying and spending your money on. Now more than ever, pennies matter. And when you can pick up 2 basically flagship devices, the specs on these are flagship. There can be no debate. So if you can pick up both of these for £1,000, 2 together is £1,000. Or you can spend even more money to get one iPhone or Samsung. Both these phones compete. Now, to end off my versus and comparison section, it all depends on your preference mostly. If I had to choose a winner, because of the wireless charging, because of the slightly better 4K recording and the 2.7 optical zoom lens, and for me, to be honest, I prefer the design. I like the big rings. I've got the OnePlus Open. It's very reminiscent of that. I like a vegan leather back. So I was always going to choose the RealMe for me. But if you prefer the look of this phone, you're only losing 0.7 optical zoom. You're only losing wireless charging. It's not the end of the world. And as mentioned, you can get both of these phones, depending on the variant, for as cheap as £450. Now the variants I have are roughly £500 to £530 each, but you might have expected this. Loyal viewers will know what I'm about to say. I am now done with these devices. Both have had unboxings and now review and comparisons done. I am selling both of these devices, and because they are so evenly matched, the RealMe's slightly ahead, but I am going to make them the same price. First come, first serve on Instagram, £435 each. Yes, that's correct. First come, first serve. DM me on Instagram, £435 each. Post offices are back open after the new year. Happy New Year. I will post these out to you tomorrow. So that was that. That was a comparison between the RealMe GT5 Pro and the Redmi K70 Pro. Hopefully you've enjoyed it. Hopefully you got everything you wanted out of it. I've had a lot of messages about these devices and comments. I've tried to answer them all in this video, but as always, comment down below if you've got any questions. I will get back to you. 2024 is going to be a very big year for the Average Dad channel, and you are the main focus of that. And you're also the main driver to make it a big year for me. So if you haven't already, smash subscribe. And until next time,